Hello, Negros Oriental.
Hello, Sillimanians around the world.
This is Joshua Soldivillo.
And this is Ronelyn Vailoces.
You're watching Silliman.
For Silliman updates, limited face-to-face classes for the early childhood school shall begin in August 2022. Safety mechanisms will be implemented. Vaccination for ECS students will not be required for enrollment purposes and will not be required in the absence of any government mandate. However, the child or student must belong to a family whose members are vaccinated. Flexible teaching modality will continue to be a strategy through the SOL learning management system.
Limited face-to-face classes at 100% capacity in all levels from the elementary school up to the graduate school will also begin in August 2022. All students shall bring their own sanitary kits such as alcohol, sanitizers, face masks, and others. Safety guidelines on top of existing ones will be implemented. Except for the early childhood students, all individuals who enter the campus must be fully vaccinated. Unvaccinated or partially vaccinated individuals must show a negative RT-PCR result every 2 weeks. Flexible teaching modality will continue to be a strategy through the SOL learning management system. The following gates shall be opened: Langheim or Katipunan Gate, Administration Gate, Villarreal Hall, Elementary, High School, and Laguna Gate. All church services at the Silliman University Church shall now be resumed, including those held at the Silliman Heights Subdivision and the Chapel of the Evangel.
Silliman University, one of UNESCO's core partners, participated in the National Seminar Workshop on Policy Formation and Adoption of Inclusive Open Educational Resources, or IOER, for Philippine education in June 3-4, 2022 via Zoom. More than 200 educational leaders across the country gathered virtually to learn how to create policies and discuss how to promote equitable access and inclusive education for all in the context of online distance learning.
Meanwhile, the release and distribution of Portal Yearbook 2021 will start on Wednesday, July 6, 2022 until the 16th every 8 a.m. to 12 noon and 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. except Sundays at the information booth. May we request each and everyone to observe standard health protocols and practice precautionary measures such as wearing of your mask and sanitizing your hands within the distribution area. That will be all. See you next week for another set of Silliman updates.
Good evening, everyone. This is a magazine program that talks about different aspects of Silliman University.
A program initiated to discuss matters concerning the campus by the sea. Welcome to
Silliman.
Good evening, Satanan. Thank you for making Silliman as your Monday night habit. And we're so happy because, again, it's still the month of July. Happy Nutrition Month. We are wishing you that you are in the excellent state of your health as you join us tonight. Well, nowadays, traveling seems to be a very trending thing to do. And one of the destinations that we would like to go to, perhaps the Eiffel Tower, or it could be the London Bridge, or even here in our own campus, Silliman Universities, we have magnanimous, we have very beautiful infrastructure like the Silliman University Library, the Luz Auditorium. But behind these infrastructures are the brains and minds of our architects and engineers. Joining us tonight are our faculty members and, of course, chairpersons from the College of Engineering and Design. Allow me to introduce first, we have Architect Val G. Vinarao. Architect, mayong gabi.
Good evening.
We also have here with us Josh, students from the BS Architecture program. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a second-year BS Architecture, Perseus, Wilbert, and Divinio.
Hello, good evening.
And of course, we have Engineer Richard Lau. Engineer, good evening and welcome to the program, sir.
Hello, good evening po.
We also have here with us tonight Spencer John L. Caluscusin.
Good evening.
Okay, sige. So, thank you guys for joining our episode tonight. And we would like to begin our conversation first. We'll give you time to congratulate our recent graduates. How many graduates did we have for the engineering and for the architecture program? Do you have Latin honors? Maybe you can say some words of congratulations to our audience.
First of all, I would like to thank to all the administration, to Silliman University faculty and staff, and also to those proud parents. I would like to congratulate them. For the College of Engineering, we have at least around 105 graduates.
Wow, that's a lot.
From College of Civil Engineering, we have 41. And then we have from the Computer Engineering around 7 or 8. And electrical also from 8 to 9. And mechanical engineering, we have around 37. So more or less around 105.
Wow.
So we have also 4 magna cum laude from electrical, computer, and mechanical engineering. And cum laude, I think, I forgot, but around 5 cum laude from civil, 2, and we have also in electrical, mechanical, and computer engineering. So I think I would like to congratulate those who have
Indeed, no, it's like Ron, it's really like a home of achievers, no? I
True.
mean, knowing the nature and discipline of engineering. How about in the architecture department?
Well,
sir?
architecture, we don't have any graduates for this school year since the transition from the K to 12. Our first batch of graduates will be next year.
Okay, we look forward
Yeah, so
to
we're
that.
looking forward to that.
Right. Speaking of that architect, since you've mentioned of that the transition in the curriculum, can you share to us how different is the 4-year curriculum architecture course right now? Was it used? Did it used to be like 5 years?
Actually, it's still 5 years ever
5 years?
since.
Okay.
Yes, the CHED maintained the 5-year course curriculum, and there were some few changes, especially for some lecture courses wherein application was integrated due to the transition or improvement into or going into the outcome-based education. So there were a few lecture courses before wherein studio classes or application were integrated into it. So I think that's one of the changes.
But on a personal level, sir, do you think this is now a much better curriculum, you say?
Yeah, because the students will learn even more due to the fact that the theories that they are learning or even the principles, they can apply it through projects that the teachers can give to the students during and even at the end of the semester.
Right.
So, Engineer Lau, let us go back and talk about the history of the College of Engineering and Design. How old or how young is SED and, of course, the BS Architecture program?
According to my memory and also our
Okay, we can trust your memory, engineer.
we are currently celebrating the 90th year
Wow,
this year,
90
June,
years.
because
Wow.
it was founded in June 1932. So this year would be the 90th of the Department of Civil Engineering.
Wow.
So that was the first, because it was Silliman Institute, then it was then Silliman University in 1935. So it was not a college, it was a department only. So the civil engineering is the first, then after that it was the mechanical and electrical. And in year 2000, I think it was computer engineering, it was added. And then the architecture, it was around 2012. So actually, based from our standard from our different organizations, our PICE, the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, it was established in 1937. So it was estimated because it was 5-year course, so it was 1932. And mostly, I think that is also from other colleges in the Philippines. It was 1920s, I think. So it was further established as part of the public works and highways, and also from the private. It was then merged and became the PIC. This is our logo.
Yeah, I don't have the
PIC.
logo, but we just have the symbol. Okay.
So
but for the engineering engineer, it's still 4 years or 5 years?
I think it was more than 8 decades, from 1932 to 2018, more than 8 decades, so more than 80 years. It was from 5 years to 4 years when the senior high was being
the K-12.
K-12.
So right now, for the record, when you enroll an engineering course, regardless if it's computer engineering, civil, electric, and mechanical, you will have to stay in the college 4 years.
4 years, yeah. But before that, it was 5 years.
5 years.
For more than 8 decades.
How about in the architecture department, sir? What are the interesting historical events that you can share to us? How old? You mentioned 2012 you started?
Yes, we started in 2012, so we'll be in our 10th year this coming school year.
Wow, okay.
Well, we had, I think, 3 batches as of last week who took the board exam. And our first batch produced 100% successful examinees.
Wow, congratulations.
Together with one being our first cum laude for the first batch, and she got I think the top 8 in the 2020 exam just before the lockdown. And we're still going strong. There are still a lot of things that needs to be improved for the department, and
that's a promising record, Ron, huh?
Yeah, Spencer and Perseus, I'd like to ask you, what are the common misconceptions that you hear about the program? And I think Engineer Lau can also share about the misconceptions when it comes to engineers. So let's start first with Spencer. Yeah.
Well, as a student, like, among madungog from other courses, like, ingon rami nga, why did you choose architecture? Drawing raman na. Like, they don't know what is architecture is. So, wala sila kabaloon sa among kahimtang eh. Like, even first year.
Yes. Sila kabalo sa among kahimtang.
Yes. Like, even first year, you're not just studying but also like mag-drawing ka, then you don't know pagkabuntag na may exam, then pulaw, dagan kayong pulaw, then that's the time na mo give up na ko. Like, munang that is the misconception, like ingnon ra nga drawing rang architecture, pero dili.
It's more than that.
It's more than that.
Yeah, a lot of undermining the course from like the public eye, because they think like it's just drawing, but in actuality it's very in depth with like how we study how people work and move inside the space, and how we have to make the space that wide to fit that movement. So yeah, a lot of my friends, colleagues, not colleagues, but like peers in like other departments think that that architecture is just the outside, the exterior, the design of the building or the structure. But in actuality, we do study a lot of like how the inside spaces work, and how the designs inside also affect the mood of the person, and how we create the space makes the space feel to the people experiencing it.
So I think that's very important, no, that we also set it straight, no, in the record, that it's really more than the drawing. I cannot also imagine how they plan the and how do you call that one? is that the term, the dignity or the integrity? Integrity of the building. Okay, I stand corrected for that. But engineer, I think you're also conflated, or you also confused with that, architect, engineer, pariharaman na. But is there a difference? What is engineering? And perhaps later on, we can answer the question on what is architecture all about.
Let us talk about when I was just a student.
Okay. But you still look young, engineer.
So before I took the engineering, I also included my options like business and accounting and so forth.
Okay.
So later on, because of my peers, they took on engineering. And why I took civil engineering? Because for us, it was the broadest department for engineering. So I just decided to take the civil engineering. But the common misconceptions is that civil engineers do not know how to, what you call, the design of the facade, the face, the
Aesthetics. Okay.
Because we just have
Do
a
the
box type. Sa puan pa na walang makeup, walang makeup, purely kuan na good siya, structure and mga casing, just like that. So I think that was because we have more on sa ilaha is more on drawings and the concepts on the architectural aspects, so more on structural math and analysis of more on mechanics of the like the materials, how it interacts with the different kinds of loading conditions. So that is how we view on the civil engineering. And also in mechanical, electrical, and computer, I think that is much more the same because we are dealing with the basic foundation of math, and also in mechanics, engineering mechanics, and more on analysis. On how to solve problems.
Yeah, because Ron, if I can remember it right, one of the newly, how do you call this one, passers of the bar exam used to be a student from the College of Engineering. So critical thinking and deep analysis really
Bar
developed.
exam, you mean?
Yeah, in the bar exam. Is that right? Yeah. How about for the architecture, sir?
Siguro let me start with the misconceptions mentioned by the students. That's true, no? One of the misconceptions is that architecture is just, drawing. Everything that the student does, or even professionals do, is just merely drawing. But it's beyond that. And actually, even before entering into into architecture. One of the requirements is that a prospective applicant or student of architecture should have at least an average to high level of critical thinking, even logical reasoning, analytical thinking, and drawing should be a given. I mean, it should already be inherent to the student. It should already be part of them before they enter into architecture. That's why during the examination, we test their drawing skills. Because for students to thrive or even to survive in the architecture program, they should already know how to draw before entering, because we don't teach drawing in architecture. So what we teach is architecture. And I think also one of the misconceptions, even as a professional, is that others would think, even allied engineers would think that our concern is more on the aesthetics, the look of the building.
The look of the building.
Yeah, but it's really beyond that. As what I've said, the aesthetic part is already inherent in as a student, and then it's developed and honed as they go into the program. And so those are the misconceptions, and I think architecture is beyond that because even in our curriculum, we study civil engineering. We have courses related to structural engineering. We also have subjects that students should design, a wood structure, concrete structure, even steel structures.
Right.
And then we also have subjects related to electrical engineering and even plumbing and even mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
So in the architecture program, we study all of the allied disciplines or professions, the engineering professions. Even we also have surveying because in the practice of architecture, we have to make all of these different disciplines work together in producing a holistic output, a building. So it's not only the aesthetics, but everything about the structure, everything about the building to really make it work for the people who are the users of that particular.
So it's really a product of careful design, a product of collaborative application, I
Yes.
would say, of different engineering disciplines. But we're just going to pause for a short break. But when we come back, we'll be asking our students of your favorite experiences at your college. What are the challenges also that you face and how you're overcoming the ODL kind of education. And is it true that the mga College of Engineering mga chick boy daw? Okay, how true is this? All right? So, #Silliman will be back. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Silliman, and before we took a short break, we actually asked our students about their favorite experiences in the college. So perhaps we'll start with Perseus.
Yeah. So far, online has been, I would say, not so eventful, but in terms of extracurriculars, that was ano. But an interesting thing that we did in the first semester of this year was last year pala, was for a submission of a plate, we had to join a contest that was within for the whole for the whole of UAPSA in Negros, I think. So we had to submit a plate of an exterior of a building, and then we had to submit it, and it was like posted in FB. So that was a very interesting task to do, especially for like being a first year architecture student and having to directly draw an exterior for like a very complicated building. But yeah, that was a fun experience.
How about you, Spencer?
Well, in my experience, like we are the last batch of face-to-face in engineering and in CED, and my unforgettable experience is that was BT subject,
What is
Tech.
BT? What is this?
building technology.
Building technology.
Yes, building technology. So more on civil or structural. And that time, that was our first submission and that was our first plate. And wala mi tulog ato. Shifting to online class is something lahi ra jud siya sa F2F because para na ako, like F2F, you have to work hard to submit on time. So to submit it on time. But online is something makatakpul siya kay there's a lot of time nga pwede ka matulog or something like this.
Yeah. So your challenge with your time management.
Time management should. And in architecture, the most important thing is time management should.
Yes. All right, that's a good advice to our students, regardless of course, Ron.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your anecdote with us. Well, anyway, let's go back to Engineer Lau and Architect Vinarao. I really like to ask this question to our guest, Josh. Like, what are the theories and concepts in both engineering and in architecture that we can use as a guiding principle in life?
First of all, engineering is a very old course, no? So it was introduced by the Americans during the 1910 and so forth. So it was just like to implement, the concept was to implement sanitary and a way to create a community that is safe, no? From mga katong pollutants and so forth. Yeah. So I think that was the first aim for the engineering, no? On how to design a community and so forth. So more on civil works. Then lately it was formed into a code and different kinds of law was passed. And then education was it was introduced in mga universities, no? And actually, the principles behind is to have a community that have protection against mga floods. That is the main, no? Floods, mga contaminations, and so forth. And also to create a community that has ng iyahang transportation, no? Dali ra ta makaabot sa from one destination to another. So mga roads and highways, mga canals. That was the main purpose good sa ato ang engineering, no? And later on, it was because we have technologies, we have the machines and so forth. So it was introduced naman ang mga electrical, mechanical, mga cars and transportations, mga different, no? So industry, it was beginning to have our industrialization, no? Towards the economic growth nato. So mo na siya engineering mostly from our karon, no, present time build by our current administration. So it was introduced because we need to speed no, our way towards economic growth. So mga engineers has a big responsibility, including mga architects, in building our communities, no? And then perhaps to create also awareness po na siya sa atong environment because we are experiencing climate crisis. So that is why we have to also incorporate in our design, no? So in our civil engineering, because I cannot say with other engineering courses, but in our course we have 7 specialty divisions, no? So we have the water engineering, so that would include mga flood mitigation, sewerage, and mostly water supply, dams, pipes, and so forth. Amo ana tanan, no? Bridges, and so forth. Then next would be the transportation and highways. So muna na atong mga kita nato ron mga highways, mga atong openings of new roads. And we have also the structural, that would be the high rise na karon daghan na nakita mga high rise, no? And then we have also the software na to gi-incorporate na siya tanan, no, sa ato ang mga structural and water and hydraulics and so forth. So we have also the environmental, ato na po na siyang gi-include na po sa among specialization ron. And also the project management. So na po may project management na mo karon, and safety, no, on how to manage the whole project na guna siya with safety and health measures. And also we have the civil engineering education. We included that as the latest na mga kuan para kuan na mo unsay kinahanglan sa for improving the education sa civil engineering. And also the geotechnical, we have also foundation engineering. So daghan gud kayo mig specialization. No? So according sa amo ang Board of Civil Engineers from the PRC, they were looking on how to minimize, no, kay dako naman kay amo ang scope, no? So kung sa tong gusto nga mo gawas sa amo ang kuan course, pwede na siya maghimog their own. Because plumbing engineering and also other engineering was part of civil works na siya. Then, later on the gawas na sila. No, so that is mga specialization afterwards ni gawas. So muna engineering is a very broad kayo.
Right. How about for the architecture, sir?
Well, simply put, architecture is concerned more on the design for people because they are the main users of a facility or any building for that matter. And then we're also concerned for the community where the building is located or built, and how it functions to to give the community their aspirations, and also concerned for the environment. So those 3 things are the main concern of the architects in the design of a building.
Yeah, and it's so good, Rona, that we are finally seeing the intersections of their own disciplines. So in fact, this is a collaborative work between the architecture and of course the engineer. Unfortunately, we're really running out of time. But before we go to your admission procedures and requirements, I'd like to ask our students here, if you were to make or design something, a legacy, a piece of architectural infrastructure that you'd like to build, what would it be and why? Very briefly, I'll start with Spencer. What is your dream architectural project?
Since high school, I am a advocate person. So I would like to build something that, you know what, like in Korea, like all the street people, they can sleep in that building without paying money, something like that. Because every time I walk into downtown or anywhere in the Dumaguete, I saw a lot of people. I saw a lot of people sleeping outside the establishment, in the streets, and that is my reason why.
So that's a dream project. Okay. How about for Perseus?
I think my main concern in building a design or like a dream structure of mine would be more environmentally focused, wherein I want a project that fully incorporates itself into the environment and how the ecosystem in that environment works. And I just want it to exist in that space and leave no mark
Okay.
to how like the environment is affected.
Is that what we call a biophilic architectural designing?
Well, actually, there are a lot of name tags.
But
It's
biophilic is
green
one.
architecture, biophilic, biomimicry.
Yeah.
So
So
those.
that's so interesting. All right.
So before we end this talk, Josh, let me ask Architect Vinarao and Engineer Lau about what are the career opportunities that awaits our graduates and what are the admission requirements for the college?
For the admission, so currently we have the grades, so we need to check with their math subjects and so forth. Sciences, physics and chemistry. And then for the entrance exam, we just have recently our, we have to, that is our first, for the entrance exam for engineering. So we need to wait and see if unsa guna siya, no? Then for the ilahang opportunity for the career, and they can have either private or sa public, no? So for private, they can have their own, maka-design sila and so forth, no? And then for public, they can go to the mga public works and highways, DPWH, for the local government, LGUs, and also daghan mga units of government, no? So you can go to the national irrigation, you can go to the NEDA, and you can go to the different nga mga kuan nga naay sa engineering works, no? So daghang opportunities, and also sa kuan sa amoa po sa education, they can also go to education, they can also teach and so forth.
I think it's a very flexible course and profession, no? Because you can also become a businessman if you want.
But is the College of Engineering and Design strand specific?
Do you accept a non-STEAM tracks?
Right now, before we have a non-STEM, katong kuan sa iyang track, but now I think we have to be strict na good. We have to follow the STEM na good, no? Because it's very difficult good nga usay katong non-STEM, wala sila yung mga calculus and mga algebra, then the math, no? Then pagkahuman diretso sila higher calculus and so forth. So maglisod sila sa amo ang bag-o nga curriculum, no? So it was from 5 years to 4 years. So muna katuba mga basic math, wala na to siya. So diretso ni sa kato mga higher calculus. So kung dili sila kabalo sa mga lower nga math, then they would have a hard time in catching up.
Okay, thank you, engineer.
For architecture, career opportunities can, of course, practicing the architecture profession, so being an architect. They can also go into the academe, as myself. They can also venture into becoming an urban designer or even an urban planner. I myself am a registered environmental and urban planner.
Cool.
And they can also go into project management, construction management, becoming a contractor, and a lot more, no? For those who are able to successfully pass the board exam, then they can go into, producing drafting works or production works for architects. They can also go venture into business or go into construction because of the knowledge that they received in the architecture program. So, and for admission, first, they have to submit their grades for us to assess. We accept, we prefer, though we prefer other strands, no, like arts and design. Yeah, because the focus is more on the design aspect. But as I was evaluating the products, I think it's best also that we also give, or consider STEM and even STEAM because of the math and the physics subjects that helps improve, the analytical and critical thinking of students. And that's very, very important. So grades, and then We have an entrance examination. So we had our entrance examination. We started it yesterday. And after that, then that's it. If they pass the exam, and
They'll be
given their
in.
grades, they'll get admitted.
All right. And of course, more details if you want to check, visit our website. It's www.stu.edu.ph. And of course, we will not let you go without doing the fast talk. Okay? So we'll be giving you options and you don't have to think too hard about them. All right. So let's start with Architect Val. Architect Val, summer or rainy days?
Summer.
Perseus, day or night?
Night.
Spencer, are you more of a night owl or an early bird?
Engineer Lau, is it mathematics or sciences?
Sciences.
Okay. Architect, is it date nights or morning walk?
Date nights.
Spencer, Perseus, beach or mountains?
Beach.
Okay, I'd like to ask Spencer, face-to-face or ODL?
Face to face.
Face-to-face.
Engineer Lau, home or workplace?
Home.
Architect, is it love or career?
Love.
Love. I think we should also ask them. Perseus, love or career?
Love.
I love. Okay.
Love.
Love.
Of course, love.
Hopeless engineer. But you have
Loves
to
man
answer
ang
this
career.
question. I think this was asked earlier by Joshua. Are engineers and architect chick boy?
Oo, architect, ikaw muna.
Sorry, I'm already taken.
Architect.
Perseus can answer that.
I cannot prove. I've been single since birth. Same.
Okay. Innocent unless proven guilty.
Engineer Lau.
I think both.
So safe answer lang.
Really, good siya.
Alright. Architect, 3 important traits of being an architect.
Well, a critical thinker,
1,
engaging,
2,
and has to be amusing.
3.
So we should also ask Engineer Lau about the characteristics of an engineer. 3.
Must be have integrity, no?
Integrity.
And we have also character. Then we have critical thinking.
Okay. Spencer, what are the 3 reasons why you choose architecture in Silliman?
I choose architecture in Silliman because its name Silliman.
That's 1.
One. And I think it's more creative.
Creative.
Yes. And
The last one is
I think it's engaging.
engaging. Okay, thank you, Spencer.
So I think all of them must also answer this. Silliman University College of Engineering and Design is
Awesome.
Awesome.
Architect.
Excellent.
Perseus.
Interesting.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Thank you so much, Architect Val and Engineer Richard, of course, Perseus and Spencer for joining our episode. And this is the last segment of the show. It's called #WTP, Word to Ponder. Ron, what's the word you've picked for this episode?
Yeah, there are actually 2 words, but I think
Okay.
resilience was chosen in the
Yes.
few episodes we had. No, because when we talk about resilience, it talks about the aftermath of a disaster. No, what can we do, or how do we deal when a disaster comes? But I think what best fits with engineers or with engineering architecture is precision. It talks about the prevention of the disaster to happen, because just imagine what will happen if engineers and architecture are not precise with what they are actually doing with their projects. No, so disaster can happen in a blink of an eye, something like that. So yeah, engineers must be precise, and to be precise, if they are precise with their work, we can be resilient and it can help the community. How about you, Josh? What is your
Yeah, I
word
think
to
they
ponder?
kept on mentioning on transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary. So I'd like to ponder on the word collaboration. You know, because it sounds cliche, but it's really true that no man is an island, and as a person, as an individual as well, you have to learn how to collaborate and work with others and admit that you are not having this monopoly of knowledge and skills. Now, in fact, it is something that you have to work hard in yourself to be able to connect with others. Because as the African proverb goes, if you want to walk fast, then walk alone. But if you want to walk far, you have to walk with others. Thank you for joining our episode tonight, and to God be the glory. Hey there, Sillimanians! Thank you for joining us tonight, and support as well our Facebook page. It's called #Silliman. We also have a YouTube channel. It's still called #Silliman. Please watch our videos, like, comment there, and share. And please click the notification bell for you to be updated with our recent posts. Kita-kits there.
And don't forget to catch us at Phil Products every Monday at 8 p.m. And replays will be shown every Tuesday before the noontime news and every Saturday after the noontime news. This has been Ronelyn Vailoces
And Joshua Soldivillo. See you next week, only here on
#Silliman.
Bye!